What is happening, Dolphins fans, and welcome to another episode of the Fins Tailgate with your host, El Capitan. Just a quick update scenario. As we know, the Dolphins lost to the Ravens, so getting the number one seed is out of the question. But the Dolphins, with the last game of the year coming up in Miami against the Buffalo Bills, will have one shot to not only win the AFC East, but also have home field advantage throughout the playoffs until the AFC Championship game, which would come down to the Ravens if they were there. But listen, we got to go 1 week at a time. But I'm going to go into right now all the scenarios of who we would face if we win or lose. We've already clinched a playoff berth. So have the Ravens at number one, who have a bye. And they have nothing to win or lose in this scenario either. So I'm going to go ahead and go into a couple of things on that. And then also, guys, who we would face in the playoffs. Going to go into all those scenarios as well. So hit the like button, everybody. Subscribe if you are new. This is going to be a short video. What's up, everybody in chat? I see you guys in the live chat. Appreciate you coming through. So let's get into it real quick. Number one, Dolphins win this week against the Bills at home, and they secure the 2 seed. That's it. If they lose on the flip side of that, they are locked into the 6 seed going against Kansas City. Those are two outcomes of this game, no matter how you slice it. Miami will be in the playoffs no matter what, but they could be number 2 and or number 6. There's no shot for Miami to be number 3 or number 4. It doesn't work like that. The board isn't moving as such, and I'm going to go into all those scenarios. If we lose, like I said, we're going against Kansas City. Kansas City is not going up or down, win or lose this week. It doesn't really matter to them. They are locked in at the 3 seed. The 4 seed could change quite a bit with the AFC South. It could be any one of 3 teams, depending on if the Jaguars win or lose. It'll be the Jags. If they lose, the outcome of the Texans or Colts game, one of them two will be the 4 seed. So let's go into it real quick. Say the Dolphins win. All right, we're just going to, for the sake of this exercise, we're going to say the Miami Dolphins win against Buffalo this week, lock in the 2 seed. So they'll be at home for the first round of the playoffs in the wild card round, hosting who? So let's go through the exercise that I have put together. All right. If the Steelers win this week against the Ravens, which is I would say it's a potentially likely outcome, right? If the Steelers win, the Ravens have no need to play. I don't think we're going to see Lamar other than maybe a quarter with the starters, try to run the score up and then let the second team coast it out. They're not going to be dumb. They're not going to. John Harbaugh's got his eye on the prize, right? They knew beating the Dolphins would secure them the number 1 seed, and they could have the ability to coast in the last game of the year, have a week off, game plan, watch teams, let them get beat up, and them get healthier. That's going to be a hard team to beat in the playoffs. Jeez. Anyhow, so the Steelers beating the Ravens isn't out of the realm of possibility. And then if the Jags win the final week of the year against the Titans, which bit of a coin toss, right? I could see Jacksonville winning. Titans stink, but Titans could want to play upset too. They could say, hey, we're going to knock you out of the leaderboard in the division rival, division opponent, and now the Colts or Texans will take your place, and you'll have to have stuff happen to get in the playoffs. But if the Jags beat the Titans and the Steelers beat the Ravens, the Dolphins will go against the Steelers the first round of the playoffs. Dolphins will host the Steelers. That's if the Jags win and the Steelers win. So let's break this up. Let's say the Steelers win, but the Jaguars lose. If the Steelers win and the Jaguars lose, Miami beats Buffalo the last week of the year, Buffalo will still sneak into the playoffs as the final seed, and the Dolphins will play the 7th seed Buffalo back-to-back weeks if the Jaguars lose. Jaguars lose, Steelers win, they're completely out of the playoff race, and that's just a scenario we could find ourselves playing back-to-back weeks against Buffalo. If the Steelers lose, but the Jaguars win, again, Buffalo still sneaks in. Buffalo could get in as the final seed if the Steelers lose and the Jaguars win. Really a way to, it's hard to beat a team 3 times, or back-to-back weeks, we'll say. It's hard to beat a team, 2 out of 3 times, much less whatever. It doesn't matter. It's a hard game. Division opponents, these 2 teams know each other so well. All right, so let's continue down the list. If the Steelers lose and the Jags lose, okay, but an outside game. Now, we just said if the Steelers lose and the Jags win, Dolphins will play the Bills. If the Steelers win and the Jags lose, Dolphins will play the Bills. But if the Steelers lose and the Jaguars lose and the Broncos beat the Raiders, the Dolphins will be playing the Steelers and the Bills miss the playoffs. Or, the Bills come in at the 6th seed now. So, Steelers lose, Jaguars lose, Broncos win. Dolphins play the Steelers first round of the playoffs. Now it gets crazy again. So right now the Dolphins have 2 different opponents they're going to play in 2 different scenarios. Steelers win, Jaguars win, Dolphins play Steelers. Steelers lose, Jaguars lose, and Broncos win, Dolphins play the Steelers. Weird outcome, right? So, but if the Steelers win and the Jags lose, Dolphins play the Bills. Steelers lose, Jags win, Dolphins play the Bills. Now, if the Steelers lose, the Jags lose, but the Broncos also lose, meaning the Raiders win, the Dolphins will play the Jaguars in the first round of the playoffs. They'll sneak in as a wild card team. A lot of things riding on this scenario with the Broncos Raiders game. Now, if there is a scenario in which the Bills don't get in the playoffs at all, and this would be the perfect storm, not only against Bills Mafia, but it would be just a great end of this, storybook tale, as they're calling it in their community, of them going to the Super Bowl. It would be the greatest pull the rug out from underneath them scenario. I would laugh so hard. If the Steelers win, the Jaguars win, the Dolphins win, the Bills are out of the playoffs. In any other scenario in which the Jags and or Steelers lose, the Bills sneak in even if they lose in Miami. Okay? Now, if both teams lose, again, if Jags and Steelers lose, that means the Dolphins will then, depending on who wins in the Raiders-Broncos game, the Dolphins will either face the Jaguars or the Steelers. They will sneak in as the wild. Oddly enough, right? Like, just a weird scenario happening with outside teams and what affects the Dolphins and who they will play. But it is going to come down to one of 3 opponents, no matter how you slice it. If the Dolphins win, it's going to be the Jaguars, it's going to be the Bills, and it's going to be the Steelers. Those are the 3 opponents that Miami Dolphins can come to expect to find in Hard Rock week 1 of the playoffs if we win this Sunday. And we need to win. We better win. After that performance against the Ravens, they better come out and win. If they lose, there is no scenario, no board movement, nothing. Miami will go on the road to Kansas City to face the Chiefs. honestly, outside of it being in Kansas City, a game that's probably going to be freezing cold and have all the weather elements you could ever imagine involved in it, Kansas City does not strike fear in me right now. The Dolphins are a better team on both sides of the ball most days, okay? I don't know about what happened on the Ravens and what happened against the Titans. Both those games, I just didn't see a team show up a lot. But either way, I could see the Dolphins going on the road and beating Kansas City. The problem I have is that the Dolphins are going to have to go on the road every week to the road to the Super Bowl, because that's where I got my prize on. I get it. We just got mollywopped by the Ravens. I'm hoping not to see the Ravens again till the AFC Championship game. That's how I want it. I don't want to see these guys again till the AFC Championship game, and then we'll figure out who's going to play what and how we can beat them. Other than that, the only other team that stands a chance to stop Miami is the Bills. I'm not afraid of the Joe Flacco-led Browns. I get it. Browns are playing good, but I don't care. I'm not afraid of any of the other teams that are likely to get into the playoffs, like the Jaguars, the friggin' Steelers, the Colts, the Texans, all these other teams that are wild card teams, and including the Kansas City Chiefs. Not worried about them. To me, it is three dogs that sit atop the AFC with the best chances to make noise in the playoffs, and that is the Dolphins, that is the Ravens, and if the Bills find a way in the playoffs, that's it. Those three teams. Now, Dolphins can win, Jags can win, and Steelers can win and do the entire AFC a favor, probably, more so the friggin' Ravens than anybody, because they would have to face the Bills at some point, being a low seed getting in. But we could do all of the AFC a favor by keeping the Bills out. So those three teams, Steelers, Jags, Dolphins, all win. Bills are out. So, yeah, guys, I just wanted to go through the scenario. It's getting confusing out there. I'm reading articles. I'm looking at stuff, and I'm like, man, dude, just the way people are explaining it, it's jumping around. Easy way to do it. Just broke it down in like 10 minutes. Hit the like button, guys. Subscribe if you're new. When the video's over, let me know who you guys think in the comment sections that the Dolphins will end up facing in the playoffs, whether they lose against the Bills and have to face the Chiefs on the road, or whether they end up being at home and facing the Steelers, the Jags, or the Bills, because those are the three teams that they're going to see. At the end of the video, in the comment section,